Welcome to the Executive Innovation Show podcast, where we bring you real executive conversations with industry game changers and thought leaders. We ask the questions you're thinking, what you're scared to ask, and we make your brain hurt afterward. With your host, Carrie Chitsey Wells, co-founder and CEO of One Touch Video Chat, live video interviews, and the nonprofit Humans Helping Humans.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Knowledge Nugget brought to you by One Touch Telehealth. We're going to be talking today about growing family practice groups with telehealth. A lot of family practice groups across the U.S. are really trying to figure out the new normal of seeing patients in person as well as still accommodating telehealth. One of the key mistakes that we're seeing across family practice groups are just going back to seeing patients only in person. And there's many ways to market new patients as well as retain existing patients with telehealth. So it's not a one or the other, it's a new blended environment, a hybrid telehealth model. So family practice groups should really look at their appointment types and look at patient demands for telehealth and convenience when really determining what needs to come in person and then what should be offered as telehealth. So let's go through a few things to look at for family practice groups. Number one, are you taking after hours calls via phone call that can be moved to telehealth to be a reimbursable event? If you're talking to patients after hours or you're talking to weekends, some family practice groups have clinics on the weekend. Being able to do that virtually is a big way to not only service your patients and not have them go to urgent cares or clinics or have them go to a consumer-based telehealth platform to, if they had a choice, going to their actual family practice versus a doctor that they don't know. They'll do that if the convenience is there every time. Number two, as we really look at expanding across the physical location and getting patients that are beyond your radius driving distance, being able to offer that to employer groups, being able to offer that to patients that have moved farther away instead of losing them, offering telehealth for those patients will allow you to really increase that, as well as younger patient demographics. As you look at, are there colleges around? Are there young employer groups around? Are there busy professionals, busy moms, busy, men professionals that you could be doing telehealth with? The third thing is, as you look at referrals, allowing to do those referrals instantly through telehealth, having a digital lobby on your website to be able to do those instantaneously and build those relationships through video will really help get new patients, get referrals, and allow that word of mouth. And then the last thing I really want to talk about is as you look at your appointment types, as you look at your low acuity, your cold, your flu, your rash, your allergies, things like that, those can be moved to telehealth. And that'll free up your waiting room to be able to see more patients. Typically, it's a 3-to-1 ratio. You can see 3 patients via telehealth to 1 in person. So it takes a lot of the workflow of having the front desk, the nurse, checkout process, doing that via telehealth. In addition, if you're running any labs and there's a follow-up appointment to talk to the patient, blood work, x-rays, things like that, being able to do that via telehealth is another appointment type that's very beneficial. And then the last appointment type that we're seeing family practice groups move to telehealth is medication. So refills, as long as, their medicines that allow you can do that. You can talk to the patient via telehealth, see if there's any symptoms, see if there's any change that needs to be any changes, and do that via telehealth. Again, as you look at family practice groups and you look at telehealth, there's a lot of innovative ways to really expand your patient base and your reimbursement, and also gain on average 20% operational efficiencies. And so really embracing telehealth for family practice groups and not just going back to the way things were pre-pandemic allows you to not only have a win-win for the providers and administrators, but also the patients that got used to telehealth during the pandemic and post-pandemic, and the convenience of taking an hour and a half trip to a doctor's office versus a 7-minute telehealth appointment. So that's today's Knowledge Nugget. Please, as always, subscribe to get them delivered weekly to your inbox. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to discuss, please let us know. And we look forward to seeing you next week.
This podcast has come to a close. To hear more from the Executive Innovation Show podcast, subscribe, submit questions, and share the love. Follow us on social. We're everywhere.